With the approach of spring and Easter, a spiritually weary world finds itself pining for a pleasing wind, or Buenos Aires. For the world's billion-plus Catholics and untold millions outside the Church, that breeze may have been personified by Jorge Mario Bergoglio of Buenos Aires. Now Pope Francis, his ministry by example style is winning him rock star status among new generations of fans. In a moment, Father James Martin reflects on this new face of the Catholic Church, and in the spirit of Easter, reflects on the role of Christ, his passion, and their deeper meaning for 21st century culture. This is Context, a look at life beyond the headlines.
Well, happy Easter from all of us at Context. 1 year ago, few of us knew his name, but now he's one of the most talked about leaders in the world, Pope Francis. So what does Easter look like through the eyes of the first Pope from the Americas? And for insight on that, we turn to our first two guests. Joining us from New York City is Father James Martin. He's the author of the book, Jesus, A Pilgrimage. And Father Jim is also well known to many as chaplain to the Colbert Report. And joining us in studio is Oriana Bertucci. She works with students as a campus minister at Ryerson University. Welcome both of you to Context.
Thank you.
Okay, Father
Thank
Jim,
you.
let's start with you. Time magazine named Pope Francis its Person of the Year, and then the Pope was on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine like a rock star. What is driving Pope Francis's popularity?
Well, I would say the key word is authenticity. He preaches what he lives, and he lives what he preaches. It's very much like what attracted people to Jesus. His words give meaning to his deeds, and his deeds give meaning to his words. When he talks about poverty, it's not just talk. He goes out and meets the poor and tries to live simply. So I think people are responding to this great authenticity.
Okay, Oriana, you have had students, you've done something unusual here. Put up a giant cutout of the Pope, and people are taking selfies with him like this. What do students admire on the university campus about Pope Francis?
I think it's his relatability, his genuine love of people. We think of a selfie. It's an image. In this day and age where our society is driven by images on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and so with every image that he presents to us, whether it's him with a clown nose on or loving a disfigured man and hugging them, that's a little bit of an insight into who he is, and we see that love, that genuine love that he has for people, and I think that's attractive to Christians and non-Christians alike.
Wow, okay, so Father Jim, people and the media are making much of the non-judgmental tone of this Pope. What do you think we should make of that, Father Jim?
I think we should make a great deal of it. While he has not changed church teaching, he has changed the tone in speaking about church teaching, and people say that they feel more welcome in the church, and that is a decided change. So people like gays and lesbians, divorced and remarried Catholics, some women, they feel more welcome. And so while some people say it's not a change, it is a change because there's a change in the way people feel about the church.
Okay, Oriana, tone. Do you think students are saying there's a new welcomeness, there's a different tone?
Most definitely. I had a Muslim student come up to me recently and say, Pope Francis is a saint. And I said, why? And he said, you know, when he called for a day of prayer for Syria, he said, I have family in Syria. He wasn't asking for prayers for the Christians, he was asking for prayers for everybody. He felt included. I think Pope Francis is creating a culture of inclusion and inviting everybody to be a part of it.
Okay, let's go to the Pope's Twitter account here. Father Jim, this tweet caught my eye. In times of trouble, love God, recognize your sins, trust in God, don't justify mistakes. Father, that applies to all of us, but what does that attitude signal for how Pope Francis will confront the ongoing fallout of the abuse scandals in the Catholic Church?
Well, I think we should be careful about not drawing broad conclusions from that one particular tweet. More importantly, he has appointed a blue ribbon panel at the highest levels in the Vatican to address the sexual abuse crisis, including an Irish woman who herself was abused and who's something of an activist. And so I think it's a very powerful symbol of the seriousness with which he takes the abuse crisis.
Okay. Pope Francis has really helped us understand sin and its effect on the world in our relationship to God. How would you describe that, Father Jim?
Well, you know, in an interview with America Magazine and a number of other Jesuit magazines across the world last fall, when asked to define himself, the first thing he said was, "I am a sinner." And one of the things he's inviting us to do is to see himself as a sinner and to see sin as part of the human condition and ourselves in need of redemption, in need of forgiveness. And I think, as Oriana was saying, there's a relatability in there. And so when people are invited to see him as a sinner, they can say, well, I'm a sinner too, and I need God's mercy as well. So it's a kind of beautiful invitation on his part.
Okay, Oriana, what do students hope that they can engage on their faith here about the Pope?
I think young people today are looking for meaning, for purpose, to be happy, to be joyful. And Pope Francis is definitely a pope who resonates that joy. But I think what he's teaching us is that we find that joy not in success, in power, in material wealth and goodness, but in caring for our neighbor, reaching out to the homeless in our community. And I think when we see that joy in him, it's contagious, and he inspires us to recognize that we can find that joy and that happiness not in material goods or wealth.
Well, Father Jim, one of the things that the Pope has tackled is the very interesting application of that famous Jesuit prayer, seek and find God in all things. I don't think Wall Street, big business, expected that would mean the Pope would take on income inequality. What is he shaking up on our economic front?
Well, he's reminding us, as Jesus did, and really as all the popes have, particularly since Leo XIII and the beginning of Catholic social teaching, that we not only need to care for the poor, but we also need to question the structures that keep them poor. And so he's looking at basic economic questions like income disparity and the way that the poor are cared for. And, you know, in almost all of his major talks, he turns us back to that question of the poor. And so Wall Street may not have expected it, but Jesus did.
Okay. Stay with us, Father Jim, and we're going to be back with more discovery about Easter through the eyes of the Pope. But Oriana Bertucci, who works with students, thank you very much. You're going to come back in segment 3. On this occasion of Easter, with its spirit of promise and hope, we promise you at home a chance to comment, and we hope you'll take us up on it. So Sheldon, how about it?
Yes, you do, Lorna. That is indeed the case. And for you at home, we want to pose this question to you. What do you want to see in the people you look to as spiritual leaders? Tell us about it. As you see on the screen, there are lots of ways to connect with us. We hope you will, and we promise to hear and see and read every message.
Okay, in all the media hype around Pope Francis, we've heard just one loud dissenting voice, the Pope himself, who feels the hype misses the mark of where the attention should go, to Jesus. And we're going to look into that Easter story next. Stay with us.